Hi, Mr. Nguyen. So it's been about 7 months since I've joined the troop.
Okay.
And whenever I come to the meetings, you always crack jokes and you're really funny. So I want to know more about you. So can you tell me about your childhood and where did you grow up? How did you grow up?
Okay. So I was born and raised in Vietnam. I came to the United States in 1975 as a refugee.
Oh,
I basically just the story of any immigrants who come to this country during that time. So my childhood was fairly interesting in a sense that not like your typical Americans, but is very typical of that of the Vietnamese society. But atypical is that I was involved in scouting, and I have family members who were in scouting. The scouting movement did reach Vietnam, and there's a strong scouting movement in Vietnam. So as a child, I was involved. I was a Cub Scout. I actually earned my Arrow of Lights in Vietnam, and I've actually gotten to be a first class before I came to the United States.
oh wow.
So part and part, so scouting has been involved with my life forever. That's as far as I can remember.
So is this how you got into scouting initially?
Yeah, just, it was a chance to just being able to run around and do things and just, just being a kid and having fun just being a kid. So that I guess that, I still haven't grown up yet, I guess. So this is why I'm still enjoying doing all this activity, being involved and liking to just learning about Mother Natures and stuff like that.
So you went on countless outings, right?
Yeah, tons.
So what is your favorite outing?
They're all my favorite. They're all my favorite. Why? Because you have to realize that there is a saying that you never have an opportunity to relive anything. Okay, so life is very short, and it's precious. I can tell you that I said these things, and I told all of you, and I hope that when you go to summer camp or you do another 50-mile, and the conversation that we have on a 50-mile or on a summer camp is between you and me and your friends. Specifically, I can tell you in 2019, we were at Camp Ammo Bay.
Okay.
So when we got onto the camp, we spent the summer. All the kids who went on that trip can tell you tons of stories, and it's one of their favorite outing. Okay, that's them. And then there are other kids who will tell you that what's their favorite, and they say it would be the 50-mile that they do. Okay, any numbers of things, but majority of them told a story about Emerald Bay. Because the last day before the couple days before we leave, we had a powwow. We sit and we talk, and none of them wanted to leave. None of them wanted to go home because it was so magical for them, right? Magical for me because it just every trip, every event, every outing has its own something wonderful about it. For example, I remember your first outing, and you and Aditya learning how to deal with the tents and sleeping and camping and stuff like that. And then learning how to operate it and learning how to use the tools, all that stuff, learning how to light the fires and all that stuff. And think about this. How many kids have I dealt with, and yet I still remember your first outing with, in March. And the next day it rained, didn't it?
Yeah.
You kind of see that? So you can see all these things. And why is it that I remember that? It's because every outing has a special moment. And every kid who goes to those outings, I don't know why, but I remember it. Each of you has a place. And each moment is its own specialty. So to say that I have a favorite, they're all my favorite. Okay, they all are unique. They all are very special. They all are wonderful. Okay.
So I know that you love scouting, and I can imagine you being a scout. But what made you specifically be a Scoutmaster?
I didn't want to be a Scoutmaster. I stepped in the role many years ago when I was actually I started out as an assistant Scoutmaster back when I was 18, 19 years old.
Oh.
So I started as assistant Scoutmaster. So I helped with with a couple of my friends who needed, I have a nephew who is now 47. I think he's 47. He was born 1977. I stopped counting. He's up there. So he was growing up, and he needed to get involved in Cub Scout. So I got involved in scouting. I became, a Cub leader, and I helped him. But at the same time, there was need within the Vietnamese community for an assistant Scoutmaster. So I got involved. So that's how I done that. And over the years, I've gone to help with troops that are through the military. I helped, with the Vietnamese troop. I've done other things. So I've been assistant Scoutmaster. I just here to help. The title doesn't mean nothing. To me, ASM means not an assistant Scoutmaster, but another Scoutmaster. We all carry the same responsibility to help you guys to get to where you're going. So the title doesn't mean nothing. It's just a title, it's what you do.
So speaking of being a Scoutmaster, so is there like a specific Scoutmaster uniform, or is it like the same for everybody?
The only thing is just a little patch here says that Scoutmaster versus an assistant Scoutmaster. That's it. Nothing special. As I said, just a title. Yeah.
So what do you think the most useful knot is?
What do I think the most useful knot?
Yeah.
It's the one that you all first learn. It's the taut line. I mean, not the taut line, but the square knot.
Yeah,
the square knot. Yeah. Think about it. You tie your shoe with it, right?
Yeah.
You tie two lines with it. Okay, there's multiple. They all have purposes. Right? They all use but I mean, for most common people, what's the one that everybody uses most every day? It's the taut line. I mean, not the taut line, the square knot.
Yeah.
Okay. The taut line is used for using pitching a tent. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, speaking of outings and being a Scoutmaster, can you share a funny incident that happened during an outing?
Wow, I have hundreds, if not thousands of them. Well, I have one of them on a long-term outing. I had a young man who basically is very fair-skinned, and he was 10 and a half years old. This was his first outing, and he refused to wear a hat. He refused to put on sunscreen, and when he came home, he got a first-degree sunburn, and his skin was peeled, and his skin was red.
Wow.
So he got to be nicknamed Lobster Boy. And there wasn't anything wrong in particular. That would be one. I had a young man who basically he's a medic now. He's a paramedic. He's working on becoming a nurse. Going to nursing school. He basically on an outing where I was prepared for snow. The whole troop wasn't prepared for snow. So the kids all got wet, they got cold, so I decided to line them all up and to check on their shoes, to check on their shirts and everything else. And this young man decided to go, you know what, Mr. Nguyen, you're worse than my mom. So that's how I became mom. So that's where the whole incident was in 2007, 2008 on the Sequoia National Park outing. And so we wind up having, since I was mom, another adult leader get to be dad. The other adult leader get to be uncles. And so it was, he basically created, we had lots of wonderful memory of all the kids and all the activity.
So, what's your best survival tip? Like, if I get lost during an outing or while hiking, what should I do?
The word stop. S-T-O-P. Okay, S-T-O-P. We taught you guys that. We taught everybody that. What's stop stand for? What's the first S stand for? S stand for?
Stay calm.
Stop. Stay
Right.
calm. T stand for what? What you got up on top? What is up there? Your brain.
Oh, yeah.
What do you do with your brain?
Use it.
You think.
Yeah.
Stop. Stay calm. Think. What do you think O stand for?
Observe.
Observe. Okay, observe your surrounding, observe the trail, observe everything, observe the time of day. And then from there, what do you do? What P stand for?
Plan.
Come up with a plan. Isn't that a wonderful survival tip?
Yeah.
If you got in a car accident, what do you need to do?
Stop.
What do you do then? S stand for?
Stay calm.
Stay calm. T is for?
Think.
Think. Take inventory. Take pictures. All right? Take pictures of the incident. Okay? Talking. Okay? O stand for what?
Observe your surroundings.
Observe your surrounding. Make sure you're safe and everything else. So what's P stand for?
Plan out what you should
Plan
do.
your next course of actions. Do I need to call the police? Do I need to go through the paperwork? Now, isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Isn't that part of an emergency preparedness merit badge?
Yeah.
There you go. Isn't that cool? So therefore, is that a useful tip?
Yep.
So what happened? You're dealing with a bully. What do you need to do?
Stop.
Stop. What do you do?
First, stay calm. Like, don't panic. T is for think or
And
talk.
talking. Talk to that guy. Talk. Ask him why.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just a jerk, and that's what you can do. Is you still can talk to him. If he's continue to do it, then what do? You take note. You take inventory of what happened. You observe who else is there, and and witness, and so on and so forth. And then what? P stand for what?
Plan.
Plan of actions. What am I going to do after this? Do I report it? Do I, right? Works for a lot of things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
You learned a skill today.
So you always look so calm and composed. Do you have any tough times with scouts or parents?
I have tons. Okay? I can tell you there was a scout. I mean, I have tons of scouts who basically, I've got kids who basically had one scout who basically had, he had illness, basically both a physical as well as mental illness. And sometimes the parents don't feel comfortable of expressing those things. And then we found out, and in fact, one of those incidents, I had a kid who basically had a temperature. We were out in the middle of nowhere. This is in 2007. The cell phone doesn't work very well. So here I am with a kid who has a temperature of 103. And I'm thinking to myself, how do I bring his temperature down? So there's limited. And then so the next ER is an hour away in the car. So I had to do something. So basically, luckily, I had medic training. So I give him a combinations of med and find out so on and so forth. Afterward, we came home, we wrote it, we reported to the doctor, we reported to the councils and everything else. And his mom said, "Oh yeah, he's always, when he get a fever, it just shoots up there." I said, "Duh, wouldn't it be nice to know and what med works?" I said, "Oh, we didn't think anything of it." So you see, there's that. So that's there's your tough. I've had parents who basically got in the way of helping the kids. Sometimes parents, I had one mom, she's a doctor, and she thinks that she knows more about scouting because she's a director of a facility. And in fact, she works for Stanford. And she thinks that she knows more about scouting than I or a bunch of us. And then she was trying to direct me how to run scouting program. And I just sitting here said, no, I just woke up 2 days ago to do this. So the joke that we always said, you think I've done this before? That's the joke, okay? Right?
Mm-hmm. So using all your vacation days for Boy
Yeah.
Scout
Yeah.
outings.
Yeah, that's
How do you-
something I need
yeah,
to think
yeah.
about.
How do you balance between your personal activities with your family and the Boy Scout outings? It's a big commitment, right?
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I can tell you if I ever figure it out, I'd probably quit. So right now, I would quit scouting. I have a bunch of my coworkers have openly said, dude, I don't get it. You take vacations and you go out and you help other people's and their kids. I have enough hard time dealing with my own kids. I have a hard enough time to do with my own vacation, yet you took your vacation to go out and help other children? You're crazy. Either that or else you're very committed. Exactly. I'm committed. Local. I ought to be committed for doing that. I mean, I've taken what? Look at this year. I've taken 3 weeks of my vacation to go out and do things with Scout. I mean, April, we went out for a week, right? And went to Utah.
Yeah.
And I took 2 weeks to go backpacking. So that's 3-week vacations. Kind of nuts, isn't it?
Yeah. And the last question, what life skills do you hope to teach the boys that will stick with them forever?
Remember we talked about cope?
Yeah.
Life sucks, dude. Embrace it. I told that to every single kid. You have 2 choices. Mm-hmm. Nobody's guaranteed that just because you're smart, that everything's going to go your way. Or I can only tell you, look at the Brock Purdy, the Stephen Curry of the world. Okay? They overcome things. I mean, Brock Purdy, this is why I became his quote unquote, his fan. It's because nobody expects him to do everything. The joke about it, he's Mr. Nobody. If you look at the history of the whole concept, the last man to pick in the NFL, the chance of that guy to basically rise to the top of become the cream of the crop, I have a better chance of winning the lottery than that. That's how hard it is. I mean, you're talking being a professional. I mean, it's like, this is maybe over-exaggerating, but it's like an 18-year-old kid who basically worked his butts off and he joined the SEAL, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, he became the team leader in the SEAL command. Well, that is just like that in a very short time. No, that is more feasible. That is far more feasible than become the NFL leaders in social, to become relevant, to bring a team into an NFC championship, to one step away from going to the Super Bowl. Did you know how many guys, how many quarterback? I don't care, it's a team sport. Yeah. But that one individuals make the team to go into the Super Bowl. And for you to become that guy. So you see what I'm getting at? Yeah. So what I'm telling you, there's no guarantee. You just have to embrace the sucks. Work hard and just realizing, okay, so I have one of the slogan I told one of my son. I might not be the fastest, I might not be the strongest. I will succeed because I'm the one that works the hardest and the smartest. Do you kind of see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Look at Brock Purdy. He's like 5'10", 5'11". They listed him being 6 foot, 6'1". They said, no way. Look at him. He looks like a 12, 14-year-old boy. Is it not true? Yeah. You seen his pictures? Yeah. You tell me that's an NFL quarterback? You look at his picture. He still looked like a teenager. Like a high school kid. And yet he's go out there and he's killing it. So this is what I'm saying. Don't take no for an answer. Be willing to put in the hour. Be willing to work. That's a prime example. That's what it takes to be an Eagle Scout. That's what it takes for you to become one of the better surgeons. If your goal is to do something good for the world, put your ego aside. That's what Brock Purdy did. People ought to read his story. When I learned about his story, I said, wow, you got a fan for life. I mean, you hear all things about this kid, you're just saying, like, he's one in a million, right? Mm-hmm. Joe Montana, who's considered to be among the greatest quarterback, Tom Brady, Tom Brady at least had the height.
Yeah.
Joe Montana at least had the height, right? Mm-hmm. Joe Montana came out of Notre Dame, got notoriety, right? Tom Brady came out of what school? Came out of Michigan, at least notoriety. This guy came out from a school that is, what? Who? And yet he's being considered to be among the elite quarterback at the moment. He got cut, and guess what? Worked his butt off, and now he's beat the Steelers in week 1. Everybody's saying, yeah, the Steelers, how wonderful it is. He went out there and just, you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Don't take no for an answer. Put in the work. And you're going to succeed because you willing to put forth the effort. At least you know inside something nobody can steal from you. Okay? All right. Fair enough?
Yep.
Cool.
Thank you, Mr. Nguyen, for your time.
You're welcome. All right? I appreciate you. I still don't think anything special. You're making a bigger deal than what it is. I'm just your average guy who's trying to do a good thing in life. That's it. Nothing more than that. Okay?
Good.
Well, thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.